What if you were told that the injury you sustained as a child playing sports could affect you in the future? Would this cause you to regret playing that sport or cause you not to put your children in sports in the future? There's been a large increase in the amount of injuries in youth and high school level athletes. Youth athletes alone account for 45 million people in the United States. Over half of Wartburg students are student athletes, and even more of us played sports growing up, so we understand the stress and pressure that is placed on these children. As a youth and high school athlete, I understand the pressures to play, as well as the stress the sport can put on your body. But more importantly, I've done extensive research on the injuries in children in sports. I will show you why an increase in injury is a problem in the youth generation, what causes this increase, and then tell you how we can fix this problem. 1 in every 2 people here at Wartburg is a student athlete, so we all understand the pressures as well as the struggles of getting hurt. There's been a large increase in the amount of youth and high school level injuries, as well as the severity of these type of injuries. These type of injuries that are sustained were used to be only common in adults. Doctors are not used to seeing these type of injuries. According to Dr. Gier, in the 2018 article, Aim to Stop Youth Sports Injuries, News and Events published by health.org, it has been estimated that over half of the injuries suffered by youth are traumatic injuries. This means that they affect the body in a very harmful way. Here we can see Callum Hooker. He's only 11 years old, but he's on his second ACL tear. It is very weird that at the age of 11, he's already had this great of an injury, not once, but twice. These type of injuries now could lead to problems in the future. Here we see Stahl Stombeck. He's 22 years old and just had double knee replacement. The injuries he suffered now are caused by the ones he suffered as a youth. While 22 is still young and almost a youth to most people, he's qualified as an adult here, but he's had a surgery for not one, but both knees that only adults that are usually in their 60s undergo. The type of injuries here, it'll cause him to need probably another knee replacement surgery by the time he's 40s. According to Dr. Sanders from the Sanders Clinic for Orthopedic Surgery and Sports Medicine, in 2016 article, Competitive sports injuries today can lead to permanent damage tomorrow if proper precautions aren't taken. He states that the injuries that these athletes are sustaining could cause permanent damage or affect their future joint stability. This permanent damage could cause them to need hip, shoulder, and knee replacements at younger ages than they should. It also could lead to a lot more pain in the future. The severity and the increase in the amount of youth injuries and high school injuries in athletes can be traced back to the type of training they are receiving. This type of training that they're receiving is the wrong type. They also are causing athletes to be very specialized in certain fields. The wrong type of training is caused by putting too much pressure and exertion on certain types of muscles and joints. It also never allows for time to rest and recover. Coaches today are forcing athletes to practice the whole practice at 100, 110, 120%. They want them to go all out every single time, even if this is not best for them. Athletes also are very specialized in their field. They only have one position that they're supposed to play, and that's what they train for. So their body never gets any time to recover those joints and muscles that are always used. Dr. Bell and his colleagues of the 2016 paper, Prevalence of Sport Specialization in High School Athletics, a 1-year observational study published by the American Journal of Sports Medicine, found that when looking at high school athletes, those that played only one sport suffered more injuries, and these injuries were a lot more intense than those that played multiple sports. Michael Rosenwald, in the 2016 article, Youth Sports Participation is Up Slightly, but Many Kids Are Left Behind, published in the Washington Post, has found that college athletes say they wish they played more than one sport, not only to prevent injury, but also to be a more well-rounded athlete. We think that to be the best at your sport, you need to only play that sport, but that is not true. Doctors that are seeing these injuries come through their office doors every day, encourages their coaches to make sure that they follow 3 steps. They tell them to make sure they're using balanced strength training, exercise, and rest, so their athletes have less chance of getting hurt. Balanced strength training, Dr. Lee writes in his article, 10 Tips for Preventing Sports Injuries in Kids and Teens, published by Johns Hopkins Medicine. That is important for kids to play more than one sport and to alternate between these, because it puts less stress on certain joints and muscles. It is also very important that these athletes learn how to cross-train. Here we see a chart of different types of cross-training. Cross-training prevents many types of injuries, but also encourages an improvement of different types of performances. Here at Wartburg, a lot of our track and cross-country runners do this, and it helps their performance they found in the long run. The other thing that's really important is exercise. It is important to use all types of exercise, especially stretching. It allows for the muscles not to be pulled quite as easily, but is also often forgotten by athletes. It is also important that we use proper training and guidelines to follow when exercising. This means using the right equipment for you and you alone. Rest is the last thing that is very important to prevent injury. Dr. Mangan wrote in the 2018 article, "Majority of youth sports injuries can be prevented. Here's how to keep kids safe," published by USA Today, that most of the injuries he sees in his office could have been prevented by the use of proper rest and time to heal. Most parents are stressing for their kids to get back on the field and do their best because they think there's a scholarship on the line, but the thing that's really important is their health, and they need time to be able to properly heal, not only mentally, but physically as well. These 3 easy steps can solve and prevent the problems from occurring in the future. While more kids are sustaining injuries during sports because of the wrong type of training and specialization, these types of injuries can be prevented by balanced strength training, exercise, and rest. While not all of us are still athletes, 50% of Wartburg students are. Whenever you are training for your sport or at the gym working out, it is important to remember to do well-rounded exercises and take adequate amounts of rest. Because, think of it now, your actions that you're taking now or have already taken could affect you in the future.